Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the morning meeting, Groundwork Ohio's weekly touch base about all the issues facing young children in Ohio. We're so excited to be back after our summer recess. We took a bit of a break while the legislature was not in session, post-state operating budget season. So excited to see everybody, lots of new faces and old friends. Most of our team is on this morning. We're really excited about our guests today. Before we kick off, I'll just do a little bit of housekeeping. This meeting is being recorded. We will send out a YouTube link after today's meeting. We also will continue having these weekly throughout the fall and winter. We'll take a break around the holidays and kick back off in January. So please keep an eye out on our email list. If you're not already on it, our weekly Friday newsletter will have all of the guests announced there throughout the fall. I always start off with a really brief kind of high level what's happening at the State House before we kick it over to our guests. But there's also a lot happening in Congress right now. For those of you who haven't been following, the appropriations negotiations are continuing, and Congress needs to pass something by October 1st to avoid government shutdown. So we are watching that closely. We have teammates in DC today and twice more throughout the remainder of this month. The Democrats introduced their own version of the appropriations bill yesterday, but the Republican majority continues to insist on a clean CR by the end of month deadline here in September. So the holdup in part is the ACA subsidies, the Affordable Care Act subsidies that the Democrats are negotiating to include because some of those will expire by the end of this calendar year. So if the continuing resolution is passed by Friday, the Senate could vote on it as early as next week. They are taking a break over Rosh Hashanah the following week, so they might also convene again on September 29th and keep things nice and close to the very last minute there for us, never letting us have a dull moment. Here at the State House, they are back in town for primarily redistricting. So they're looking at the congressional maps, and advocates convened on the State House yesterday. And there's a 9:30 deadline there as well for the state to agree on a plan. The speaker has indicated he's doubtful that they will reach a bipartisan plan by that deadline. So then the Ohio Redistricting Commission, which is broader than the legislature, reconvenes in October. They have until Halloween to accept maps. And then there's yet another option for it to go to the full legislature in November. So there's a few different layers there on the redistricting side of things. The property tax work group also is eating up a lot of the State House bandwidth at the moment. I am going to turn it over now to our wonderful guests. I want to read a little bit about their backgrounds. Jennifer Bullock Moore and Dr. Michael Bullock, they very successfully pushed through a really important bill, House Bill 4, this General Assembly, sponsored by Rep. Adam Holmes and Cecil Thomas, a bipartisan bill, which will make tomorrow, September 19th, the first Stillbirth Awareness Day that we'll be observing here in Ohio. And my colleague Dominique, who's on the line, also testified alongside them. So we're really excited about the work that they put in to do that this year. Many of you might recognize Jennifer as a weekday anchor on NBC4 here in the Columbus area. She joined the network in 2014. Before Jennifer's role at NBC4, she honed her skills as a reporter, anchor, and news producer at WHIZ-TV. Her experience in broadcast journalism has been marked by a commitment to delivering impactful stories with depth and empathy. Beyond her professional endeavors, Jennifer is also a passionate advocate in the fight against heart disease. As a survivor, she is bravely navigating a daily battle and actively collaborating with the Central Ohio chapter of the American Heart Association, another one of Groundwork's friends, to raise awareness and support. Jennifer shares her life in Columbus with her husband, Gerald, and son, Noah, and daughter, Harper. Their youngest child, Miles Owen, was born silent in October of 2021, and it remains a cherished presence as their guardian angel and a source of inspiration for the family's strength and resilience, which I know we'll chat more about today. And I also want to introduce her father, Dr. Michael Bullock, who is with us and serves as the president of Miles Mission and MKB Ministries, LLC. He embodies a passion for compassion-driven initiatives that support families facing profound challenges. Dr. Bullock's commitment extends to guiding souls as the senior pastor of Hands of Faith Church in Zanesville. He serves as a board member for many local and statewide organizations, including the Muskingum County Adult and Child Protective Services, Salvation Army, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, City of Zanesville Historical Zoning Board, and Governor's Evangelical Advisory Council. He's also the author of multiple books and has shared his life with his wife, Kathleen, of over 40 years. And in addition to Jennifer, he has another daughter and 6 grandchildren. So thank you both so much for being here. I have so much enjoyed getting to know you both through this work and through the story of your son, Miles, and the work that Miles Mission is doing. And I'll kick it over to both of you and I'll stop chatting. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Brittany. It's so wonderful to be here. And thank you for thinking of us to present today and to have a really important discussion. I shared briefly with Brittany and some of the team. Forgive me that I have a little bit of a cold. It's that time of year, so I've got a cough drop in my cheek and my tea with me. So forgive me if I have to take a pause, but we're going to do our best because it is such an important topic to discuss. So as Brittany briefly mentioned, yes, I am an Ohio girl, born and raised over in Zanesville, and made the journey to Columbus, coming up on 11 years with NBC4. And it has been quite the journey for sure. My husband and I have been together since college, since we were 19, and we have a beautiful family. Our oldest, Noah's 8 years old, going on 9. And my daughter Harper is 5 years old. And our youngest, Miles, he was stillborn in October of 2021. And to say that that was a shock and a surprise is an understatement. My pregnancy with Miles was very unexpected, but it was really perfect all the way through until we lost him at 33 weeks. And even to this day, we don't really have answers as to why or what happened. We have some ideas and some thoughts, but nothing that was confirmed. We opted not to have an autopsy because for us, it wouldn't settle anything for us. Even if we did have answers, there would still be, I think, a lot of trauma and a lot of why and a lot of what ifs. And we just didn't want to do that to ourselves. So instead, we, like I like to say, turned our pain into purpose and established Miles's mission in May of 2023. So if you are not familiar with us yet, or you're still learning about Miles's mission, I won't hold it against you because we are still very new, but we have done a lot of work in the last 2 years with Miles's mission that has been very impactful. Brittany gave a little bit of a rundown of it, but essentially how it started was that we took a family vacation on what was going to be Miles's first birthday or the first anniversary of his death, whatever you want to call it. And I remember sitting around at a table. We had a birthday cake for him. And collectively as a family with my parents, my sister, my brother-in-law, my nephews, I told my family, I don't want Miles to be forgotten. I don't want him to just be a little blip in this, grand scheme of things. And I said, I want to find a way to continue saying his name, to give him a legacy and a purpose. And that's when my dad, who was also my pastor, said that he felt that we were called to establish Miles's mission and to bring awareness to families who are enduring this kind of pregnancy and infant loss, child loss, and find a way to help them in their grief, connect them with so many of the resources that are available. And so that's what we've been doing. And then as we've progressed, we learned a lot of new things about bereavement support and came to find out that there were a lot of holes in the system when it came to how we can best support these families. So that's when we learned about cuddle cots and caring cradles. Um, I didn't get to have that experience. So I had to watch Miles be wheeled back and forth from the morgue to my room for 4 days while I was healing from a C-section and a hysterectomy. Um, I had to ask permission to hold my own baby. And that was so traumatic. And I didn't realize how traumatic it really was until I was able to look back after some healing. And we just decided that no family should have to go through that. If there is access to these kinds of devices that gives these families time to grieve in a healthy way, that needs to happen. And especially in a day and age where there is so much more that we can do. And especially in a city where we have some of the biggest and some of the best hospital systems. So that is something that we started working on in terms of standardization for Central Ohio hospitals to start. And then we hopefully will take this to a much bigger level. But we started working with the Central Ohio Hospital Association to establish a playbook essentially for hospitals so that no matter where families deliver, if it comes to the fact that they won't be able to take their child home with them, they will get great care. They will get the same care no matter where they choose to deliver. So that was recently established, voted on, and passed by the presidents of each of our four major hospital systems here. So that is something we are really proud of. And then legislatively, as Brittany mentioned, and well, we worked with Dominique as well, who also testified, the passage of House Bill 4 earlier this year that was signed into law by Governor Mike DeWine, making tomorrow the very first Ohio Stillbirth Prevention Day. It has been recognized nationally for a few years now, but Ohio as a state is now officially recognizing it. And for us, that was a major win because essentially lawmakers are telling us, you're right, this is a problem. And if it can be prevented through the, spreading of education and awareness, training, then it should be prevented. And so to have them say that they recognize this and that they see this, they're acknowledging all of the families who have experienced this grief and all of the families who will unfortunately experience this at some point in the future. We know that we can't stop every death from happening. It is a part of life. But what we can control is how we respond to it and how we help the families who have to walk that journey, not just in that moment, but carry that with them for the rest of their lives. And so to be able to do that with my son's name attached to it has been such a blessing. And I like to say that this is the beauty that came from the ashes of losing him. People I don't even know have said his name. They've looked at his picture. They've contributed to our cause. We've made so many great connections and found an incredible community of people. And so, as long as we're able to, that is what we will keep doing. I've been fortunate that my workplace has been a champion in this as well, and they've never silenced me. They've never told us we can't talk about this. They've never put limitations on what we can do. In fact, this past year, we had our first television special called Miles's Mission, where we were able to feature him and so many other families who deserve to have their stories told. And so to have the platform where I can share this message and share my son with thousands of people has just been amazing. And in turn, we're giving voice to so many of the other families just like ours. So and it allows us to be at events like this as well. So to be able to share our message has been incredible. So that's just kind of us in a nutshell. So I do want to turn it over to my dad now because as I mentioned, we've been very busy, and there are always things happening. We have a lot of events coming up this month and some exciting things we are looking forward to at the end of this year as well. Dad?
Well, I want to echo Jen. So thank you for allowing us and honoring us for being a part of Groundwork Ohio. For those who don't know, Brittany and I go back about a year and first met, and I've been very, very blessed to be a part of what Groundwork Ohio is doing, which is one of the things that keeps us very active and very involved. One of the things that we have also learned through Miles's mission, our relationships, friendships, is that there's a pain of a parent of a parent, meaning that as a grandparent, we are still overwhelmed by Jen and Gerald's grief. Other grandparents are starting to reach out so that it's not just about the mom or the father or the siblings. There are friends and other family members that are affected by the loss of a child, no matter what gestation period, whether it's a miscarriage, stillbirth, infant child, or even an adult child. And so one of the things that we are trying to do is navigate this entire terrain and recognize that this is a lot more expansive than we first thought. As a young nonprofit, as Jen said, we formed Miles's Mission in May of 2023. But because of, I don't know, the awareness that is now becoming more apparent, more and more people are reaching out and having conversations. And we're finding that what we started out doing initially is not where we are now. We are learning by trial and error We are experimenting with the highs and the lows, and we're letting other organizations lead the way in the areas that they're the strongest. And so we have now taken on, yes, the advocacy role to try to do more of those things, but we also are still very active in making sure that all families are recognized and getting an opportunity to realize that they're not in this by themselves. And so one of the things that, as Jen said, a lot of the questions were around why. Why do these things happen? Why are women losing children? Why is there miscarriage? Why? And one of the areas that I've been trying to push now is not so much asking the why, but start recognizing the who. Because when you recognize the who, it helps you in the healing process. And the who is the people that are around you, the organizations that can support you, the legislation that is now in place, the elements of hospital bereavement care that we're pushing and working with an international corporation to be able to bring that to not only the state of Ohio, but they want to take it nationwide so that any hospital anywhere will be able to help families who are grieving and have gone through a traumatic loss. And so the three things, well, again, as Brittany mentioned, I'm a preacher, and so I think in threes. And so the three things that I try to do whenever I speak, whenever I go out, and whenever I share with other organizations is the fact that one, we want people to know that they're not alone. They're not in this fight by themselves. They're not in their grief by themselves. They're not in a situation by themselves, that others are not only experiencing it, but they also have gone through it and they know what they're going through. So they're not alone. Their experience may be unique to them, but the situation is not a, a situation that others haven't gone through. The second thing is we want them to know that they're not forgotten. That's why we push for Stillbirth Prevention Day. That's why we're pushing for the hospitalization. That's why we're doing different things. And I'll mention the third thing we're doing in a minute. But I want them to know that they're not forgotten, that people do remember what they're going through. And that's the biggest thing I know with grandparents that I've met and have come up to me and thanked me for what we're doing is sometimes they feel they're forgotten because they're still grieving not only the loss of their grandchild, but they keep grieving their child who is still grieving. And so they're not forgotten, and that we want them to always know that they're remembered. But the last one is the most important, which leads into the third area of what I'm going to talk about. But we want them to know that they can't, we don't want them to be hopeless. They're not hopeless because there is help, there is hope. And so what we have been fortunate to have happen for us is our Kingdom Valley Parks District had 2 acres that they weren't doing anything with. And so they contracted that park over to us. And now we're going to have the Miles Mission Memorial Park dedicated to anyone who's lost a child. So if you come to Zanesville, Ohio, and we'll have directions and mappings, and there's a church right next to the park that they've given us permission, we can park there. And we are in the process of receiving an angel, and it's called the Angel of Hope. It started in Salt Lake City, Utah. Richard Paul Evans is the founder of it. They have the Christmas box. There's a movie about it. There's all kind of things behind it. But we're bringing that angel statue to southeastern and central Ohio. And as we have the statue in place here in a few weeks or months, we'll have a pavilion, a children's area eventually, a wind foam, and we're going to have paving stones. And along the side of the paving stones, we're going to have bricks that are dedicated to the children of loss. So if you want a brick with a child's name on it, you can have 3 lines. For example, for Miles, we have our little soldier, Miles Owen Moore, 10, 11, 20, 21. For Pamela's 2 miscarried children, we have their bricks. And so the bricks will be along the sides of the paving stones that anyone will be able to see their brick and spend time in the park, in the pavilion, walk around. Eventually, we'd like to get a waterfall because we want it to be not only a place of serenity and peace, but an opportunity for healing, to find hope. That's why it's called the Angel of Hope, and gives people hope to be able to see their child again one day. So as we keep moving forward in those areas and continue to strive to help people to not feel alone, not forgotten, or not have hope, we keep pushing the needle in that regard because we want people to know that there are brighter days ahead. I think we are starting to get to a place where we're laughing more than we're crying, but that it's okay when we cry. It's okay when we feel sad. I was driving to Columbus the other day, and the song Commission came on by Kane. And I've heard the song probably 100 times. But I'd been in a meeting that morning. I was on the radio and our local news station talking about Miles' mission. And as I was driving, that song hit me and I teared up and I got sad. And I owned up to it because I know that after that, I felt joy. I'm thankful for what we're doing. I'm thankful for the people and the lives that we are reaching. Even this morning, I've gotten 3 emails from people we've sent items to. One woman lost twins at 7 months, and she wrote me this beautiful email. And so um, we 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 are invigorated, we are encouraged, we are energized by the lives we are helping. But more importantly, we know that we can't do this alone. So we're thankful for Groundwork Ohio and other organizations that have come alongside of us, and we alongside of them to keep pushing and pushing and pushing whatever way we can to have better opportunities for research dollars, for education, for training, to get hospitals to understand the importance that this is not just a situation of stillbirth or miscarriage or child loss. It also affects mental health. It affects relations. 47% of couples end in divorce when there's a child loss. So those numbers need to decrease. And so there's a lot still yet to be done. And to recognize that when a woman loses a child, things like fetal maternal microchimerism are a reality of a biological desire for that child that that woman has. It's not just psychological, but it's biological. So all of these things are part of this. And the more we learn and the more we investigate, the more we research, the more we can help and provide hope and healing. And so that's why we are kind of doing what we're doing. And part of what we're doing and why, quite frankly, I stay tired a lot. So, but we appreciate it and we're thankful for it. And we are truly honored to have been called into a family of such great, great organizations and people that we never would have met otherwise. So at that, I'll turn it back over to Brittany. If you have questions or want us to talk more about anything, we're both here to do that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bullock and Jennifer. And I was thinking back to the first time we met, and I think it was actually at Perinatal Mental Health Advocacy Day, Dr. Bullock, that we were randomly paired together to do some legislative meetings. And
Yeah,
I'm just so grateful that that happened, and we've been able to advocate together since. Thank you both for sharing your story and for turning such pain into something so meaningful and hopeful for so many families around Ohio and beyond too. I know you're regularly on the go, Dr. Bullock, and traveling the country, spreading this word. So I'll pause in case folks, I see in the chat, there are some folks sharing their own experiences of loss. Thank you so much to folks for sharing that. Are there any questions anybody would like to ask? Oh, thank you. Thank you everyone for putting these comments in here. But if anybody has a question, please feel free to hop off mute or enter it in the chat too, and I can read it out for you. I put the website in the chat as well. Are there any calls to action that you'd like to share today? Perhaps some donation opportunities or events coming up that folks can engage with?
yeah, we have quite a few events.
Yeah.
2 of them are already full. We have our first inaugural golf outing here in Zanesville, but we do have teams coming from Columbus, and so we have a few celebrities that are coming as well. So we're looking forward to that. And then our annual gala, we are having October 8th, and that unfortunately now is also full. We have some great people coming to that as well, and have some great opportunities to continue to increase awareness and provide um, fundraising opportunities for people that are going to be there. However, we have on October 11th in downtown Columbus, the Pale Walk, Pregnancy and Infant Loss Walk, that we are on in a partnership with Alive in My Heart, Columbus Public Health, and Nationwide Children's Hospital. And you can go online to run,
Here, I'm
sign
gonna
up.
put the link in the chat.
Okay, good. Because my brain trying to remember all that. So anyway, you can go and register early, or you can show up on the day of. So that's Saturday morning, October 11th. You can show up the day of. But if you'd like a T-shirt, you can register and get a T-shirt. It's a mile walk around Genoa Park. And last year we had over 480 people, and it was a beautiful morning, crisp, and it turned out warm. We have some local vendors who were there providing different items for families of loss. We have some donuts from Donald's Donuts, which is world renowned here in Zanesville. We have a coffee truck, Kingdom Coffee, and we have a taco truck. Jen, what's the name of the taco truck there?
It's Dos Hermanos.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
Columbus
speak
folks will know
Spanish,
that.
so yeah. I keep saying Dos Sakis or something. I don't know what it is. Los Hermanos. So we have that coming up, and pictures, and we have a program, guest speaker, and so that's a wonderful opportunity again for families to heal. And so we have that coming up also. And as far as donations, if you go to our website, there's a yellow button that says donate, and much of what we are doing is either the park or we provide bears for families of lost boxes that other organizations do. We just are a conduit. And so they provide those. And if someone contacts us, we contact them and then they send those things and items, and we try to help families heal that way. We know a lot of women have benefited from holding a bear or some stuffed animal or receiving a box. My book's available as well. Other resources, counseling resources are on our website also. And so anything that we can do to help, you can go to our website, milesmission.com, and hopefully we can find it. And if not, we'll find you somebody who can, because we know like if you have a wedding dress you're getting rid of, there's organizations that turn those into gowns for babies. We have organizations that provide free urns and grant funding and different things of that nature. So that's what I said. There's a lot of great organizations out there. And we're also providing that for the Central Ohio Hospital Council, that they have all of those organizations on their website for the hospitals to go to, so that if a family has lost in the hospital, they have somewhere they can go and point that family to and help them as well. So yeah, we're excited about those things.
And just for everyone to know, if you donate, all of that money goes toward our events or our resources. We don't take anything. We are just doing this because we are passionate about the advocacy work and because we want to, acknowledge and recognize and continue to get Miles's name out there. And so every cent that we get is strictly for the work that we're doing.
Thank you so much. And we'll be sure to send out the link for Miles's mission as well as the run on October 11th as well on our follow-up email. And if anybody wants to get in touch with Jennifer or Dr. Bullock, please feel free to respond to the morning meeting email, and we're happy to connect you that way as well. Thank you so much for sharing Miles's story. Thank you for the work that you do and the hope that you bring to so many folks, and for spending your morning with us today.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Brittany.
We
Take
appreciate it,
care,
Brittany.
everyone. Talk soon.